Move! Get back! Let me in! I be the IGGY! Oh my God, no! Do not let her in! I'm trying!
All right, guys, so as you can see there, that is how some people have spent / are spending their holiday / Christmas seasons with their families. Okay, they're wrapping themselves in plastic boxes because I guess they don't want to spread the virus or to get the virus. I guess that's it, right? I have no clue. But again, I just find the things that are happening in 2021 to be absolutely fascinating, right? We are truly living in the twilight zone with all the craziness going on around this pandemic. However, I feel like most people probably did spend their Christmas / holiday season with their friends and family, despite all the warnings from the Biden administration and mainstream media. And trust me, they try really hard to separate families, mainly by vaccinated and unvaccinated status. I mean, CNN even tried so hard that they brought on a Catholic priest to basically tell the audience that, hey, not only should you not spend Christmas with your unvaccinated family members, but you also probably shouldn't go to church with them as well. And churches shouldn't allow unvaccinated people in their facilities. Take a look.
This morning, Father Beck, one struggle I imagine is that fewer people are going to church, to temple, to worship these days. Like with many institutions, right? Folks are retreating over time, and I wonder how you, as people of faith, break through that to get the message through, right? As people come less often to hear that message.
Yeah, well, Jim, there's no supply chain shortage of love and compassion. And I think that what we're trying to say to people is you have a social responsibility if you do gather. Christian churches, many are gathering this evening, and some are still not requiring vaccination, which I disagree with.
Yeah.
So I think part of caring for one another, the dictum of Jesus, who we celebrate his birth, is love one another, show compassion, show mercy to each other. So I think the message is that if we want to act like Jesus in these kind of times, we take care of each other. And if we're going to gather in celebration, we have to do so safely, comfortably, and we have to give to one another that gift of peace. And part of that is health and feeling like we're gathering in a healthy environment. And so I really hope as people gather in celebration to celebrate the birth of Christ, who was about mercy and compassion and love of one another, that we keep that in mind. It's not about us. I don't think there's a reason to say, I'm not going to get vaccinated today. Maybe a health reason, but then you can't come to church, get services with other people right now. We have a responsibility to one another.
Yeah, so again, this is just the mainstream media's attempt on behalf of the Biden administration, that is, to cause more division in this country, right? Telling families that they can't spend time with other family members due to their vaccination status, further pushing the segregation that is currently happening in our country. Okay, they pushed all this, right? All this. And it's not just division in regards to who you can hang out with. As we can see, some of this stuff has erupted into violence, okay? As we see in public spaces like grocery stores and stuff like that, you have people out here trying to play mass police, okay? Trying to dictate what other people are doing in their lives, not mind their own business. And this has escalated into fights, right? And controversy, right? We've seen it all across the internet. All the videos all across the internet of people getting in conflicts over these pandemic rules, right? I mean, we got people getting in fights on planes, right? Fighting passengers, fighting flight attendants over these rules and these mandates. Again, a whole lot of division in this country, mainly caused by the Biden administration and the mainstream media. And this was done in the name of trying to shut down the virus. You know, the thing that Joe Biden promised he would do after he was elected into office last year?
The answer was I would follow the science. I am not going to shut down the economy, period. I'm going to shut down the virus. That's what I'm going to shut down.
So Biden says he's going to shut down the virus, right? He's going to shut down the virus, right? That's what he promised, okay? Now, all this division and all this controversy, right, to shut down the virus is what Biden said. Now, fast forward a year later, okay, till today, a little bit more than a year. Biden came out and said something interesting today when he was speaking to a group of governors about the federal government and the pandemic response. That seems to indicate that Biden's plan might not necessarily be to shut down the virus anymore. It could just be to give up. Take a look.
Rapid test and the availability of it. And so one word of concern or encouragement for your team is that as you look towards federal solutions that will help alleviate the challenge, make sure that we do not let federal solutions stand in the way of state solutions. And the production of 500 million rapid tests that will be distributed by the federal government is great. But obviously that dries up the supply chain for the solutions that we might offer as governor. And so just that brief comment before I turn it over to you, Mr. President. But I want to say personally, I've enjoyed working with you when I was in Congress as head of the DEA, and I appreciate your leadership. And thank you so much for giving us the time today to hear from us, but also so that we can hear from you personally about the challenge that we face. So, Mr. President, the microphone is yours. Thank you, President Biden.
They said, thank you very much, Ace. Look, there is no federal solution. This gets solved at a state level. I'm looking at Governor Sununu on the board here. He talks about that a lot. And it ultimately gets down to where the rubber meets the road, and that's where the patient is in need of help or preventing the need for help.
So hold on. Biden just came out and said that there is no federal solution to dealing with this pandemic. That this is a state solution, right? That this is a state issue. How in the hell is this any different from what Trump was saying the whole time last year and what Trump was doing, right? The same people that said that Trump was the worst president ever to handle this virus, okay? He was the worst president ever to handle a pandemic mainly because he said, hey, you know what? I'm not going to be authoritarian. I'm not going to overreach. I'm going to let the states handle it the best way they see fit, right? He took that same strategy. And the mainstream media said that he was the worst president ever, right, for that. Now Biden is doing the exact same thing. He's saying the exact same thing, okay, with the layup of having the vaccines. And I wonder, is the mainstream media going to say the same thing about Biden? Because at this point, we already have more deaths this year under the Biden administration from COVID than we did under Trump. Okay, again, this is with the vaccines. So again, I wonder, is the mainstream media now going to criticize Biden for his lack of a plan and him not fulfilling his promise of actually shutting down the virus? Because that's literally what the man ran on, right? He ran on this idea that he was so much better than Trump in regards to being able to handle this pandemic, okay? That's what he ran on, right? That was his main pitch. That was his main talking point. I can handle this better than Trump. Now, lo and behold, he gets into office with the vaccines, and we're still in the same exact situation, right? We're still in the same situation. Now, smart people like me knew, and you guys knew as well too, especially if you was watching my channel at the time, that I kept saying, I was like, I don't think that Biden's going to be able to shut down this virus, right? And the reason why is because I looked at everything that Biden planned on doing, okay, in regards to his plan to shut down the virus, and it was literally the exact same thing that Trump was already doing, which involved mainly more testing and contact tracing. That's literally what it involved, okay? That's literally what it involved. I mean, Biden doesn't even get credit for distribution of the vaccine because Trump already was on pace to beat what Biden had set for himself as a goal in regards to vaccinations in the first 100 days of being president. Trump was already on pace to beat that. So everything that Biden is doing or claiming to do, right, in regards to being so good at handling this pandemic, there's no doubt in my mind that if Trump was president, we would probably be in the exact same situation. Because at the end of the day, I mean, it's obvious at this point that the virus is going to do what the virus does, right? And that the federal government simply does not have the power to stop it. They just don't, right? And it is what it is. And again, I mean, hey, people can do what they need to do to protect themselves and to make their own choices. And that kind of should have been what people were doing from the get-go, right? So you mean to tell me you lock down this country, right? Lock down parts of this country, push some of these mandates on people, okay? Cause all types of division in this country, cause people to show up to the dinner table in plastic boxes, to not spend time with their family members. You separated families. People protesting in the street. You did all this stuff happen just for Biden to come out at the end of this year and say, well, this is kind of a state issue, right? There is no federal solution. Again, this right here, it's just a damn shame, man. It really is. And even people on the left realize just how pathetic of a comment that is, considering the promises that this guy made, right? Just to revert back to Trump's strategy. Because again, anybody with any basic common sense knew that this was what was going to happen. That Biden never really had a plan. His plan wasn't any better than Trump or any different than Trump's. And he was just blowing smoke out of his ass the whole time when he was talking about how he's going to shut down the virus. And I guarantee you, mainstream media, they're not going to criticize him the same way they criticize Trump, even though we have not had any real improvement under the Biden administration, in my opinion. Right? That's just what it is. This pandemic was always a global issue, right? Just like climate change. It is simply a global issue. It is what it is. And now they want to come out and tell the truth once they realize that, oh, well, this ain't something I can necessarily just shut down. He never had a plan in the first place, guys. He never had a plan in the first place. But hey, it is what it is. I just hope that now that he's kind of admitted that the federal government doesn't have a solution, that they stop the charade and hopefully things can go back to normal, right? That's just my hope. But I wouldn't count on it, right? I wouldn't count on it. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.